How's it going, guys? How's everyone doing? Good to see you all in here. I think we have about 23 people in here now. Probably get some more here soon, just because it usually seems to happen as the stream starts up. So, kind of a crazy day in the market today. I think a lot of stocks are down. At least a good number of my portfolio is down, probably about two-thirds. But we are up significantly in a couple, like Neo, like Bngo. Those have been taken off right now. So we're gonna talk about both of those. We're gonna talk about Workhorse too, because Workhorse had some pretty big news. I might do a video on my main channel about Workhorse today. I don't hold Workhorse anymore, but the stock has been going kind of back and forth. It's kind of trading sideways right now, but they had a big order today, so I might cover that. Let me know if you guys want that. You can either, just tell me in the comment section or in the live chat, or, if you want to hit the thumbs up, I would appreciate that too. And then we'll take some questions too. So I just posted about Bngo, and so some people are asking about this in the chat. Is it a time to buy? I talk about it pretty in depth in the video. It's one of those ones where if you didn't buy already, I think if you knew about it and didn't buy, then I wouldn't buy the stock because nothing has really fundamentally changed since last week. So if you knew about it, you knew everything about it, you're probably not going to be comfortable if it falls down, let's say 30%. Are you going to be able to hold on? Probably not. And the thing with this one is you have to be willing to risk your entire investment, I think, in the stock if you want to hold it, because it could go down significantly. It could go back down to $1 because it went up from like 75 cents to $1 or to $5.50 in a couple weeks. But if you didn't know about the stock, if you just heard about this weekend and you like it, then I think there's more of a reason to buy it. Otherwise, you're just liking that it went up. So I think if you're looking and you're willing to risk it, you can pick up Bngo. But again, that's based on your own preference. I am not selling mine, even though I'm up, and I just have my phone here so that I can see what's happening. I'm up 326% because we picked it up at $1.25 on the dot. So I am not selling it now. That being said, though, I put in a decent amount of money, but like I don't really sell any of my positions. I mean, I do sometimes, but very rarely. So all the money that I put in here is just money that I'm making from my income. So I'm not putting in, 5, 10 grand every couple days or anything like that in stock. So I made a pretty penny. I will be able to eat well for a while, but not that I'm using this money to eat anyways, but I'm willing to risk it because it's a good amount that made me a good amount of money, but not too much that I would risk, or that I would have a problem risking it and losing it. So let's talk about Workhorse, and then we'll get to the chat in a second, answering some questions. Workhorse had a big delivery day, and I'm just pulling it up here. They had a big amount of deliveries. They came out with some news that they received a huge purchase order from Pride Group Enterprises. So if you haven't seen this already, I actually sold a Workhorse a while ago. A lot of people kind of gave me a hard time for it at the time, but they kept on asking whether I regretted it. I don't, because I mean, look at other stocks that we've been able to buy, like Bngo, and I had more Workhorse than I have Bngo. So I think it just kind of allows me to invest in other companies. And Workhorse traded sideways for weeks because of it, but they're up 4% today. They got a 6,300 vehicle order from Pride Group Enterprises. They just announced this morning. That's a premier Canadian and US-based privately held company with businesses in transportation, equipment, retail, wholesale, rental, leasing, and logistics. The order is split between Workhorse C1000s and C650s and is subject to various production and delivery conditions. So they've talked about their partnership with Hitachi. They need to be able to increase deliveries. So the initial delivery of the vehicles may begin in July of 2021 and will run through 2026. They say they have a new agreement with Pride, marks our largest individual order to date, and expands our sales channel and internationally into Canada for the first time. Our ongoing partnership with HCA continues to bear fruit as we gear up for scale production in 2021. The large order solidifies our first mover advantage in indicates the heightened interest in our last mile delivery products. So this is interesting because they're still making these huge orders, or they're still getting these huge orders, but they don't really have a lot of deliveries. So they had a hard time increasing production last quarter. They, I think, only delivered 7 vehicles, and that was up from 3 or 2 the quarter before. So a lot of people were really worried about this last quarter because that is not a huge increase. They cited that they had 37% or 33% of people home with COVID. So that kind of makes me pause for a second because, first of all, that's just a really high number. Of course, that was kind of at the height of the pandemic, or at least when we were starting to get some increase in cases, I think. But 33% or 35% is a large amount. And that strikes me a little bit odd. Maybe like a whole bunch of people from their work were hanging out or something and someone had COVID. But that would make me a little bit worried if I was still a shareholder, because 7 vehicles is not a lot. They're trying to ramp up production, but they've been trying to do this for a while. So I don't know if they'll be able to fill this order for 6,300 units. It's a good thing. It's better than not having it. But I think really right now they just need to focus on ramping up that production and putting more time into that, I think, than increasing their sales. Because as shareholders, it's nice to see that, but I'd much rather have a company that can actually meet their expectations in what they've already gotten sales for than one that just continues to get more sales and can only produce 7 or 10 or 20 vehicles a quarter. And then NIO, last thing before we talk about chat, NIO increased deliveries. I think it was over 7,000 vehicles this last quarter, and 7,000 vehicles this last month. They have really gone up a lot today, about 10%, 10.5%. They are going up a lot. I think they have their NIO Day coming up here in a week or two. Also, I talked about that on my main channel. So if any of you guys haven't seen my main channel, it's down below. You can check it out. It's in the description. But they have their NIO Day coming up here soon. They should be able to hopefully release some new information that would send the stock up. But might be one of those things where if you're buying it now, if you're looking short term, it could be bad or it could be good in the short term because of NIO Day. It could be one of those things where they sell the news because maybe they don't come out with the type of information that we're looking for. They're expecting some announcements on battery technology. They are expecting a couple other things, but if they don't live up to expectations, the stock price could go down. So it's one of those things that if you're looking long term, I think it's not a bad time to jump in, but it is highly valued, so it could go down pretty easily. So approach at your own risk with all this. Approach at your own risk because I'm not a financial advisor. So I think that's kind of where I sit. Those are the 3 main items that I want to talk about today. Also, 2 companies I'm kind of looking into right now. Magnite, it's down 9%. I've done a video on it before. I own it. I don't know exactly why it's down today. It might just be part of a larger market sell-off, but it's below my cost basis. Fubo also down 5% today, so I'm looking at that one. And then CLSK is another one where it's down 6.5%, looks pretty attractive. And I think that's because Bitcoin is down. At least earlier today when I looked, Bitcoin was down. Yeah, Bitcoin's down about 5%. If you haven't been watching, Bitcoin went from like 28.5 thousand on Thursday, or like right at the end of last year, and it went up to 33.5 thousand, I think, over the weekend. So it's trading off a little bit. And I think maybe that's just because people had sell orders maybe around 30,000, 33,000 or something. And then maybe because of it going down, more people are just getting out because they're worried about it or something like that. But I could be wrong. I haven't looked into why Bitcoin is down, but that would make sense to me. And then, with CleanSpark, they're down, I think, 7% because Bitcoin's down. They have a mining operation, but I really like CleanSpark because they just increased guidance for next year. So they were expecting, they had $10 million worth of revenue this year, and they were expecting 20 million next year. And they grew this, or they've been growing at about 100% a year. But they acquired a Bitcoin mining company that will add probably $10 million or so, maybe even more than that, 10 million, depending on how much Bitcoin costs, to their revenues. And then they're also increasing guidance from the other part of their business by 100%. So even if you don't like Bitcoin, they're still going to increase the other side of their business from 10 million to 20 million. That's their expectation this year. And that's an energy grid type of business that they're working on. So it being down 7% just because Bitcoin is down 5% is a little bit dramatic, because that only accounts for a third of their revenues coming up this year. So it's getting attractive again. I bought it at 1850 though. Now it's at 27, but long term, I think it might be a good stock. Of course, it could fall down because it's very expensive for what it is now, but it's growing very quickly. So if they are able to continue to produce like they are now, I mean, they are working with some different cities. I think that if they continue to scale that up, that's going to be big and could send the stock up a lot, because it is still a fairly small market cap. I forgot exactly what it is. I think it's under $1 billion off the top of my head, but I could be wrong. So don't quote me on that one. But I think that's a dramatic pullback for what's happening. So let's get into some of the questions in the chat. First of all, Bngo is up 76%. So hopefully people are excited about that. But I think a lot of people have questions on that. So should you buy Bngo right now? Kind of hit on that before. Might have a correction later in the week. Yeah, so I think that it could have a correction. That's why I'm saying that you have to be ready for that if you're going to invest in it this late in the game. And it could still be early on for the stock. I mean, PACB went from like $4 to $26 and is one of ARK Invest's largest holdings just over the last 6 or 12 months. So you could see a pullback, but it could also go up 5x from where it is here in the next couple months or next couple years. Cesario, nice to see you. Happy New Year to you too. Stock's been boring all day. Yeah, it depends what kind of stocks you're in, I guess. But yeah, a lot of my stocks are kind of trading sideways or down a little bit. So I've not read anything about EvoFem Biosciences, but I can pull it up here. Someone wanted to see something about that. So just pulling it up here. Let's see. Are they up a lot today? Yeah, so they're up 2.5% today, kind of just trading sideways. I haven't done any research on them, but I was curious because a lot of the time if people bring them up, they're up like 100% or something like that. Oxygen was up 100%. Any idea what happened? I'm not sure. I don't follow that one. Neo shooting up. Yeah, big day for Neo. How's it going? How's it going? A couple people saying hi. Not worried in the slightest about CLSK. Yeah, me either. I'm excited about it. I wanted to keep on falling because I don't think there's any reason for it to be falling right now besides Bitcoin falling down. Watch for 25 on Fubo. Yeah. Yep. That'd be nice. Why is Fubo down? I'm not sure exactly. I don't know if there's a real reason for it. Might just be because of people still selling off, like the initial investors are selling off because they had that lockup period end on them last week. So just a little update. I look away from my phone for 1 minute and now Bngo is up to 90% up on the day as opposed to 75% up. It's crazy how much it's climbing. I'm up 370% overall right now. Bngo price prediction. So that one, oh, Sicario. Sorry. I thought it was Sicario. Oh, that is what I've been saying. Sorry. Okay. So Bngo price prediction is impossible. So there are too many catalysts coming up. I like where it's going, but there are too many catalysts coming up. They announce, or they're at a couple conferences here next week, like all week long. And I might live stream that. I haven't decided yet. I think it might be very boring though. I don't know. And there's a lot of jargon there too. It's not going to be like sitting through a presentation where they're just like, oh, revenue is this. It's up this much per year, year over year. I think it's going to be very dense because it's not meant for investors, I don't think. I think it's meant for people in the medical industry. So maybe I'll live stream that. Let me know if you want that. But again, I don't know. We'll see on that. The other part of that too is they could have a sell-off because of people taking profits. If it falls down or if shorts get to it, it could fall down because of that. But this is becoming one of my larger holdings just because it's up so much. I don't plan on selling off, though, just like I said in my video that I put on my main channel a little while ago. But I could see it falling down a little bit short term because it's up so much. I mean, I'm up 370%, but other people that bought in before I did, some people I know were in at like 70 cents, a dollar. I could see them taking some profits when they're up 1,000% or something like that. But we also have ARK possibly investing if they want to down the line. I mean, PACB is similar, not the same as Bngo, but they could possibly invest down the line. So I think you have to keep that into account, even if they're just rumors of that. Like one of their employees was going to talk with the CEO. So if they buy a good portion, I think a ton of people will flock to it. And, with institutional investors, they don't really want to invest when there's a risk of being delisted either. And it was towards the end of the year, right? So a lot of people don't want to have to explain to shareholders probably, or a lot of companies probably don't want to have to explain to shareholders or investors why they bought this company that was on the verge of being delisted right at the end of the year. I mean, if anything, they could just buy the company now or soon because they don't have to explain it then for several months. And then at that point, the stock's either up massively or they could sell it and just say, we were riding it up, it didn't work out or something like that. I don't know exactly. I don't know too much about hedge funds, but I think that's something that they would do because, again, they have to explain everything to their shareholders and try to produce the best results. So that might be something to consider too. But I think there are a lot of big catalysts, but I can't really put a price prediction on it because so much is going on. I would like to see it up to, $10, $12 a share. And I think too, we won't have that risk of being delisted here after a few more days, because I think that ends next Monday or Tuesday because you have to be above $1 for 10 business days. And we've been above it for 4 or 5 now. Check, or check out, check. I'm not sure what that is. I saw someone else talking to me about that, but they're up 197% today, or 170%. Let me know what happened to check. Okay, they climbed on a NASDAQ extension. I'm not sure why they climbed that much, but maybe it's just because people aren't worried about it. Maybe they have some kind of technology. It looks like some kind of pharma stock possibly. And that's what Bngo did. They got an extension. They should have been delisted back in October, I believe. That was 6 months from when they had their 6 months timeline. But that didn't really happen. They got an extension because of the technology that they're going to be able to release. What's my take on ARKG? Well, I own ARKG. And again, sorry, I'm just looking at my phone here in case you guys are just joining the stream. I'm not like texting anyone during our stream or anything. But ARKG, I like. Now, some people are saying, why not just buy some of the stocks that you like in ARKG? I mean, that's kind of the whole debate between index funds and individual stocks in general, right? If you can pick out the ones that win, why would you buy the entire market? With ARKG, though, I think it's important to remember genomics are quite hard to understand for a lot of people. Like I can understand and try to grasp what Bngo does, but I don't have a background in it. And I was pre-med, right? So I've studied a lot of biochemistry. I've studied chemistry. I've studied biology. I've studied DNA sequencing, DNA mapping. I still don't have a good idea. I mean, that was a couple of years ago, but I still don't have a great idea for what goes into this. And I don't understand the financials behind it. So I think that's something to keep in mind. If you don't want to try to understand all these companies, or if this isn't your area of expertise, I like ARKG for that reason. I don't want to have to look into 50 different bioscience companies or biopharma companies that I don't really understand and spend my time there. I can understand other companies a lot easier. So I would rather spend my time there because with pharma stocks too, they're very risky. You see them often jump from $1 to $2 or $3 in a day. You see them go up 100%, down 50%. So while you can hit it big with Bngo, and we were able to do that because we got in early and we were able to hear about it, and there are just so many things going for it. I think ARCG is a nice solution if you don't want to have to do that and risk a lot of your money and a lot of your capital on that. Because honestly, with penny stocks just in general, and it seems like a lot of these pharma companies are penny stocks, I don't want to invest in penny stocks. I need to like be called to invest in penny stocks. And maybe that's just me. This might change over time as I get more comfortable with it. But I have a hard time getting information on penny stocks in the first place. It's really hard to find information. A lot of the time I'll watch YouTube videos first just to get like a general idea because it saves you a lot of time. Of course, I always do extra research after that. But that's the thing that I like about YouTube. A lot of people will spend hours researching, so it can cut through the crap, and then you can just try to, do extra research on top of that to make sure everything's right. But it's like if someone gave you the answers to a really hard test, and then you just had to like go back through and make sure, oh yeah, that looks right, that looks right, that looks right. It saves a lot of time. So I like ARCG for that reason. I think that, it can help you a lot with that, trying to weed through or not having to weed through some of those companies. And just a little update, Bngo is 1% away from being up 100% on the day. They're at 99% up on the day, past $6 a share. It's crazy. Okay, so I'm just going to keep it here in case it passes that 100% mark. Who knows? Some people might sell off when it's up almost 100% in a day. I mean, honestly, it probably will fall down a little bit at this point because it's up so much. I'm sure a lot of people will be looking to take profits if it hits 100% up. I mean, it's one of those things. I've done this before. When a stock's up a lot in a day, if I don't like the company, but I thought there was a catalyst to see it go up, I might sell like half of my position or part of the position. Now it's up 103% on the day, 104%. 105%. So I might sell part of my position. With this one, I fully think that it could fall down pretty quickly here to maybe 60 or 70% up, but I don't trust it. I don't trust it to do that. So I'm going to hold. Could be, I could lose a lot of money just because I didn't take profit when it was up this much, but I would hate to see it drop it or to go up another 40% and then have to buy in when it's that much more expensive. So I'm holding it. I could have sold it this entire time. It's up 107% now on the day, 108%. So I'm holding it. I think with this one, I don't think there's any news that came out. Actually, let's see. Yeah, so there are just some other articles that came out that since my video earlier, there's some other articles that came out just saying that it's up a lot today, but we hit on the study that they came out with earlier today, that they did a study on autism spectrum disorder, and they were able to detect some different parts of the genome or the DNA sequence with that. So we cover that on the main channel, but yeah, it's just crazy to see it up now 110% up on the day. Oh man, it makes me think of, and I should have included this in my video. Do you guys remember what show or what movie is that? Wolf of Wall Street, where he goes, "I'm not effing selling." It reminds me of that, or "I'm not effing leaving," but it's just I'm not effing selling right now. But I could be wrong. It's up 117%. So looks like it's a good thing we didn't sell at 105%. So sorry, MGNI, that I believe is Magnite. I was saying earlier, I'm going to look at that one again today because it is down. So I might be buying into that a little bit soon. I have to remind myself of these companies and what I liked about them. I know some people that write them down, like what's the point of them investing in this company? What do they have going forward? That way, when the stock drops, they can look back at it and give themselves more conviction or just remind themselves. But luckily, I have videos on it, so I can just look back at those and kind of remind myself, see if anything changed, because it is something that could be a good investment. I just have to remind myself of why I was so bullish on it before and see if anything changed. BTBT, one that we talked about over the weekend, it's up 35% right now. So I talked about how it was going to blow up. I don't hold it, but I was definitely going to take a look at it this week. Now it's a good play if you think Bitcoin's going to go up and you don't want to buy Bitcoin. It's a Bitcoin mining company. I was taking a look over the weekend to see how long we should be able to go before all Bitcoin is mined. And we have a surprising timeline. It's actually like, so I checked two different websites. It said it was in the 22nd century. So the beginning of the 22nd century. Now, I don't know if this accounts for increased mining of Bitcoin. I could see it happening before that if they didn't take into account that. But I think we have a long timeline, and it's not like a lot of people will be selling over the next couple of years. Especially if people are producing bigger and bigger numbers, people are going to be wanting to join in on that, not sell out. So that's something that I would take into account. Clean Spark still down about 8%, looking pretty good right now. Now it's down 8%. I think that one's definitely one to check. Quick note, if you guys don't mind, just hitting the like button. This is the second channel, so I don't have as many people in on this. So if you guys want to subscribe, you can do that too. A couple other things. There's a main channel link down below. If you haven't subscribed to the main channel, I think most people probably came from the main channel. And then the last thing, if you guys want to join the Patreon, there's a link down below too. Like I said, we were able to point Bngo out pretty early there. Okay, if I need to invest 10,000 this week, what would I buy? Okay, so if I had to buy, I think I actually did a video on this last week. If I just had like 5,000 or 3,000 to invest in, I would not buy Bngo because it's up so much. I mean, could go up a lot still, but I would probably want to invest in less risky plays. Honestly, Clean Spark is down 9%. I might consider a small position in that, but I'm actually pretty risk averse. Even though I bought Bngo, I'm not a very risky investor, and I'll buy risky stocks, but I don't put like 10 or 20% of my portfolio in it. And, you know, after seeing some stocks that we bought go up a lot, it's easy to look back and say, yeah, that would have been really nice because I would have had a 50% return in a week or something like that, as opposed to whatever I had. But I'm just not really willing to risk that much. So I take that into account, but I like Disney a lot. I would probably put a lot in them. JP Morgan, and then probably something like Tattooed Chef. I really like Tattooed Chef. I don't know. Yeah, they're up 3.5% today, but I like them long term. They're growing revenues a lot, and I see them as a lot less risky than some of these other plays. Now, by the way, Bngo is up 117% again. So it dipped down, but still up 117 now. Lewis, I'm glad that you like the Discord. You said the Discord is class. I appreciate that. Okay. Check out BTBT. Yeah, so I actually did a video on the main channel about that this weekend, saying that I thought it was going to blow up Monday. So if you guys got in on that, if you got in pre-market, I don't know what it was at like right when the pre-market opened, but it is up a lot today. My brother-in-law actually talked about it like last week and bought a good amount of it. Okay, so I'm pushing my brother-in-law to make a channel, and sorry if I've said this already, but he has picked out. Oh, he jumped on Bngo with me. He picked out BTBT. I'm trying to think of what else he had. What is it? The company that I swing traded last week, we were up like 50% in a day. CELZ, Creative Medical. He jumped in on that one like a day or two before I did. I think he sold out before I even bought in, but I think he was up a decent amount there. I've been pushing him to make a channel because I think he likes finance a lot, and he's a pretty good stock market investor. He's been doing real well. He's mostly an index fund investor, but he's put together a portfolio just for these swing trades, and I think he's up like 100 or 150% in a very short amount of time. Okay, MP was strongly recommended. Yeah, so I haven't recommended anything because I can't recommend or anything like that because I'm not a financial advisor, but I have talked about how I like it a lot. I think it's one of those plays where it can go back and forth short term. It's down 9% today. So it's one of those ones that can go back and forth short term, but I think long term it's a good buy, and it's hard to justify the price it is now, but you know, if you haven't looked into it, I would look into it. it's a company that the U.S. I don't think will let die off. It's too important to the U.S. because it mines 15% of the global rare earth materials and 75% of the rare earth materials outside of China. So that's something I would take into account. And now, just looking at my positions, the whole market or a lot of my stocks are being destroyed right now. LGVW down 8%. Magnite down 11, Fubo down 10 in my eyes, and CIC down 10%. Some other companies too that I have smaller positions in. In my eyes, I like this because this is part of a general market sell-off. Obviously, that the whole market's down about 2%. So we see more speculative stocks down a lot more. So I like this because long-term, I can buy in. I might be buying in a decent amount today because of so many stocks down. I might spend a couple hours here just looking at some of these options and trying to figure out what the best one moving forward. I like it long term because I don't care if a stock's down 11% today. I'm not selling it. I'm not selling some of these long-term positions because they're down a couple percent or 10%. I would be happy if they fell 20, 30, 40%. I don't think all these have gotten bad news in the last day. I think that's very unlikely. So right now, I just see it as a buying opportunity. So hopefully, if you were buying into these companies, you weren't buying for the very short term. Or if you were, I personally, if it was me, I would be holding on to them longer just because I think that it's unlikely that all these are going down for a good reason. I have not really looked at Mara or Check. I appreciate that you're a big fan, though, Kazone. Are Bngo and Workhorse already done? So I talked about those earlier. With live videos, you can actually scroll back right where you normally would change the time, and you can go further back. So you don't have to watch these live. You can go back through towards the beginning. But I talked about those pretty much coming out of the gate. Did I buy eBang? No, I did not. I haven't seen what they did today, actually. Let's take a look. Yeah, so they're up 12%. Nice little ride up. I talked about those over the weekend too. I haven't bought any companies today. I've been kind of letting it settle because there's been a lot that's been going on. Blink, I have not checked them out, but I saw SBE was down, so I'm guessing general sell-off in the charging market a little bit. Do I think MP still has room to drop? I think all of them have room to drop. It's just a question of whether they do or not because, again, general market is selling off a good amount. I think everyone's just selling off every other stock and buying BNGO right now. Just kidding. But yeah, I think a lot of people are shifting around their portfolio. Check out Surrey. Okay, I might do that. Yeah, so I did mention BT a while ago. Sam, BNGO is still a buy today. So I hit on this earlier, but I'll talk about it again for a second. Someone says BNGO could hit 7. It definitely could be. They're up 121% now. They only have another, what is that, 2% to go, 3% to go to hit 7. Might see some selling off. I think we usually see those when it hits one of those numbers, a nice round number. Some people have set some sell orders. So do I think it's a buy now? I hit on this early right out the gate, but if you knew about the stock when it was $1 or $2 and you didn't buy it and you knew what they did, you did research on it, I don't think it's a good time to buy. This is what I always say. If you are buying it, even though you knew about it earlier and you're buying it just because of FOMO, I don't think that's a good reason to buy it because when there is a sell-off, let's say you buy now and it goes down 40%, are you going to hold? I think it'd be much harder to hold and you might make emotional decisions and you're buying because you felt like you missed out. But if you are buying it now or you're thinking about buying it now because you just didn't even know about it and you really like it, you really want to jump in, you're okay if it falls because you really believe in the company, then go ahead, buy it. But you have to be willing to risk your investment because this is a risky stock, especially when it's up so much so quickly. It's nice, though, when you're playing with a lot of house money. I mean, I didn't take out my initial investment, but we're up. Let's see how much we're up. We're up 425% in less than a week. So I have a lot of room to see it go down and then try to analyze whether I should sell off or not. It could go down 50%, and I'd still have tripled my investment. So I would consider that. Okay, so it looks like Fubo is having a problem in accounting according to its latest article. So I have not seen this. I'll take a look at it though. Well, I'll take a look at it now because I've talked about Fubo a decent amount. Okay. So Fubo down 10%. Let's see. This is something that I think is really important. A lot of the time with these companies, you have to be able to weed out whether it's a good reason for why it's falling or whether it's just something short term. So if there's some big scandal, like they're fudging the numbers on purpose, that would be horrible. But if it's like, oh, they missed a number or something and it was on purpose and it's something that's easily headline, then it's not really them. Now, I find it interesting because Motley Fool was the first company that came up with it. Obviously, everyone can update their opinions at any time. And with these companies, they have multiple authors. But also a week or two ago that we're putting out this massive number on Fubo TV. So it's interesting. Okay, Fubo isn't profitable because the direct costs of delivering its service are higher than revenue. Subscriber-related expenses, which include affiliate distribution rights and cloud computing charges, among other things, were slightly higher than revenue in the third quarter. Broadcasting and transmission costs added another $9.8 million to the total. Okay, so I already saw this, or I actually read about this, and this is one of the reasons that I've not bought yet. I was learning more about the really high expenses of a streaming service, especially like these live TV shows, as opposed to something like Netflix. I was reading more about that over the weekend, and that is something that I've been taking into account. Now, I don't think it's something worrisome enough to sell out, but I also have a position that doesn't really make me nervous. But I could see if you got a little bit nervous on that. But right now, nothing has changed, right? There hasn't been anything that's changed on the company. And I haven't been able to see that thing about their accounting. Maybe I'll type that in. But nothing's really changed. So I think as they produce bigger and bigger numbers, it's going to be easier for them to hit revenue expectations or be able to hit profitability, just like every streaming stock, right? It's really expensive until you scale up. And I think I'm taking a bet on their sports betting, which is down the line, probably a couple of years down the line, but I like that. So let's see. They broke down what it believes are the flaws in the company's business model. So yeah, I'll have to take a little bit deeper of a look in this, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be bad long term. I'm still holding on to my shares of it. You're surprised Amazon is getting destroyed? I have not seen that. That's interesting. So what's going on with Wish? I have not looked. Okay. So let me know, guys. Yeah, I'll give you my background in a second. Someone's asking on that. If you guys wouldn't mind, let me know what big, like very expensive, high market cap stocks are down significantly today. So put the ticker or the name of the company. Let's go name of the company and then how much it's down, because I want to see if there are some positions. I've been looking at some bigger companies. I want to see if some of them are down a lot, like Amazon. Let's see what Amazon is down. I'd be curious to see what they're down. I was looking at Alibaba recently. Amazon is just down 2%, which isn't huge. But if you're looking at getting into Amazon, it might be a good time to do that. Of course, not a financial advisor or anything, but Alibaba is down another 2.5%. They talk about how Jack Ma has not made a public appearance in 2 months. So let me know what of those companies are down a lot. I'll give you my background here for a second. So I was in banking. I was in personal banking. So I was pre-med in college, found out I didn't like that. I finished all my classes and I just didn't want to go $300,000, $200,000 in debt. Did well in all the classes, but I was really good at studying, but I couldn't really retain information for months. And a lot of that is just building, building, building. So I did really well in my classes, but I was getting to that point where I was like, oh, this I'll have to study a lot to be able to retain it all too. So I found out that, and I just didn't really want to study that much. I wanted to do something that made money now. So I got out of, well, I wasn't gonna go to med school then. Then I got into finance because I figured if I wasn't making 200,000 a year or $300,000 a year coming out, I better learn how to make money some other way. So I learned about finance, I learned about investing, and then I got into banking. I run a couple different companies that are outside of YouTube, and I did that, made some decent money there. Good numbers like per hour. I was making a good amount per hour, but they just weren't scalable. And then I started YouTube. I started YouTube actually right when I came out, but nothing really hit. I was doing like all financial independence or like index fund investing videos really early on, stuff that just doesn't get traction. Then I got interested in individual stock investing this year around the beginning of the pandemic because I felt like there's such a big opportunity because some stocks were going down 70%. And we did really well in some of them, like IIPR. I know a couple people, I think Matthew Hugh, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, was just talking about it yesterday. And IIPR is one that I bought, I think at like $50 a share. Now it's $180 a share. And it was just a REIT that I felt like was doing quite well. And I liked their business model. I liked what they did. And I was able to pick up on that. And now that one's one of my better performing stocks, up 250% or something. Okay, so let's see what stocks are down a lot. Oh, and then, last part, I quit my day job about 2 months ago, almost to the dot, 2 months ago to do this full time. Okay. What's my stance on DraftKings? I think it's probably good long term. Disney is down. Okay, let's take a look. Disney. I am a big believer in Disney, so I might pick up more shares here today. I'm not sure yet. Disney down 2.5%. Okay. APPN down. Let's see what that is. Appian. Okay, I've not looked into them before. Let's see what else. Apple down. Apple's down. So maybe if you guys have been looking to get into some of these companies, might be a good time today. Apple's down about 2%. It's crazy to see these like mega cap stocks go down 2% or something as opposed to okay, APXT is down almost 2%, as opposed to some of these other like speculative stocks that we talk about more on the channel. Some of them are down 10% as opposed to 2%, but they make sense. They're a lot riskier. Okay, just use FinViz heat map to get the percent down up. Okay, interesting. Thoughts on Bngo long term? Long term, hard to tell because it's so speculative. I think we're all learning more about the company pretty much every day. But I think long term, I'll probably hold on to it until there's something really, if there's anything that comes out that's really bad, I might sell off. But for the time being, I'm planning on holding for a good amount of time. Did you miss what I said about BFT? So I've not talked about BFT actually yet. Let's see. Just pulling it up now. I don't know if there's really anything that came out on BFT. I think it's just down 6.5%, probably part of the broader market sell-off. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Let's see. There's one that I've been looking at. I know a couple people that have invested pretty heavily in it. So Mountain Crest, I believe this is the one that's investing in Playboy. They're at $10.55. I heard someone tell me about this, and I have not confirmed it myself, but I believe the person from what they've said. Someone said that this company, and it's a SPAC, right? It's at $10.55. Usually SPACs can only fall to $10, generally how they're set up. But he had read through some of their documents, and he said that this company can only fall to, well, it can't only fall to $10.20. It can fall below that, but you can redeem your shares for $10.20. This person built up, he's another YouTuber actually, and he built up, I think, a 6-figure position in this company. He said it was irresponsibly high, the number of shares he bought of this one. And at $10.55, if you can redeem for $10.20, think about the risk management on that, or the risk in general on that. You can lose 3.5% on that. So that might be a really good one. And I haven't talked about it on my channel. I know a lot of other people have. Playboy is a company that's losing money, but if they are able to, let's say you pick up shares now, if they start to run up on hype, that would be a really good one to be able to hold on to, just for it to go up $2-3 a share. If they go up to $12, you make 15% or something, and you have very little downside. I'm considering buying some of this one, maybe an irresponsibly large position. Who knows? I'll have to check to see that $10.20 limit, but I don't know. That's pretty attractive. I mean, if someone said you can have this bank account, it can go up to, it can give you a 30% APY, and it can only go down 3% or something, but you could lose money in it. I think most people would probably put some money in there. So I'm considering that one. That one's MCAC, if I didn't make that clear. Mountain Crest, the one that's merging with Playboy. Okay, what else? QuantumScape is doing something today. Bngo, no-go long-term. No, I'm not saying that's a no-go long-term. I'm just saying if something bad comes out about it, if it changes my views on the company as a whole, as opposed to just some noise about, I don't know, it not being, I can't even come up with something, but it just like some noise that causes it to go down short-term. If we can weed out what's really bad for the stock long-term, as opposed to just something that will send the stock price down for a week because it catches headlines or something, or a couple of days, I think that'll be the important thing. NNDM will go up to $15 this week. Let's see. Okay, NNDM. Oh, it looks like people are buying the company MCAC that we just talked about. It's been pretty much staying at 10.55 until I talked about it. Now it's going up a little bit. NNDM's down about 3%. With NNDM, I've talked about in the past, it's hard to gauge what they're going to do because of the fact that they don't have any profits. They don't have any revenue, really. They're really just raising up capital to hopefully acquire someone else. So I don't know. So, yeah, we'll see. Disney is investing a lot of money in Asia this year. Interesting. What do I think about NGA? So I've talked about this one before. It's one that's really risky. Or no, I've talked about NPA. I'm not sure about NGA. NPA is pretty risky, but I have a small amount in it. Fubo 25, nice. Buy more SB, down 8%. If you want more, if you want to have a bigger position, today's probably a good day. Can I please talk about check? I actually talked about that one before. Sam, we only want 100% gains, right? Okay. Fubo, nice. Check out BTAQ, another $10 SPAC. Okay, let's pull that one up. See if it's got some room to run. Okay, just pulling it up here. You know what BTAQ does? Looks like they're $10.58. I know a couple companies just announced some SPACs today. Let's see. Okay. I can't see what they do, but I'd be curious, or what they're merging with. Followed about IMMR. I have not looked really in depth in that one so far. So Bngo at all-time high, time to sell. I'm not selling. I've talked about this a couple times so far, but I'm not selling yet. Even though I could, and I could lock in that 400% profit, I'm not selling just because I think there are too many good things that could come up. I should look at EQOS. Interesting. I might do that. It's in the crypto space, former SPAC. You hope we all find new Bngo because you were late. Yeah, that will be nice when we find out the next one. So with those, I said this earlier, but for anyone that's new, I really try not to invest in penny stocks. It sounds bad, and maybe I'm phrasing this the wrong way. I have to be like pulled in to invest in a penny stock. Like I don't go out searching for penny stocks, But if I come across one and they're just so compelling, I'll invest in it. I know some people just won't invest in penny stocks, but I try to keep my mind open. With penny stocks, they're so risky. They're hard to get information on. There's a lot of volatility. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. I don't always invest in them because of all that. So I'm not going out there trying to buy penny stocks every day. But if I come across one that I really like, I'll buy. That being said, there's a lot of volatility. For example, Bngo is now up 100% as opposed to 125%. Can you handle that? Some people can, some people can't. Please look into COUR, Zapco. So I've looked into that one a little bit. Are you curious about VGAC from Richard Branson? So I own part of that one. I've talked about it a couple times. BFT and now BNGO killer. Yeah, so falling down a little bit. BNGO is still falling down a little bit now. BNGO is up just 95% today now. It's pretty rough as a BNGO investor right now, being up only 93% now. So, I mean, I said this earlier, though. It could fall down more. I even said I'd expect that because it's up so much. And if we start to see a sell-off, I could see it keep on selling off because people are trying to lock in profits. We're up 90% now. So it's one of those ones you have to be willing to see it go down. I mean, I think last week we had a day that was up, I want to say 3 figures. And then it ended the day up 60%. So if you bought and then sold out, you lost out on a good amount of profit. You lost out on 100% plus profit. Have you looked into OEG? So I looked into a little bit, but I still have a lot more research to do. What about GNOG? Let's pull that one up. Honestly, I look at so many stocks, it's hard to remember all of them. Gold Nugget. Okay. I haven't looked into this one in a long time, honestly. It's about trading sideways on the day, trading down from 27 to just 20 this week. Interesting. Okay. XL stock. So I did a video on this one actually right when they announced their SPAC, and this was back before the SPAC craze. They have, as I remember, right? I have not looked into it in a while. If I remember right, they actually have a pretty good business behind them already as a SPAC or as a private company, as opposed to some of these other electric vehicle makers that don't really have revenues, don't really have solid numbers yet. So if you were comfortable with it at $30, I would probably hold. I don't know why it's down though. So, I mean, that's up to you, I guess. Mohammed, I'm glad that you made a lot of gain. Yeah, you're probably up 100% if you bought right below $3. Do I think the parabolic movement of BNGO makes it look more attractive to ARK, or I think it concerns them? That's a good question. I've not heard someone ask me that. So I don't think it makes them concerned because I think as soon as they buy in, the stock is going up. And I'm just pulling it up here to see what it's doing now. With ARK, I don't think they worry about, I mean, obviously they want to produce good returns. So they want to make sure that the stock price doesn't go down. But I don't think that they're worried about a company that's this small a market cap that like retail investors could pull their positions, because if they invest, it's a small enough market cap, it'll probably go up, right? Like NNDM, it's been moving up for no reason really. And I think the only reason really is that ARK Invest has been buying them, and retail investors are hearing about it because ARK Invest bought them. So ARK Invest, I think, has to be a little bit careful because they could do that with a lot of companies. And a lot of companies could probably go from a really bad situation to a really good position like NNDM, because they can then sell off shares and raise capital and kind of get themselves out of a hole that they've dug. With BNGO, I don't think it alarms them that it's up so much, but I think they probably want to hear a lot more about the company from one of their insiders. I mean, they talked about talking with the CEO. I think they also want probably FDA approval. They probably want to make sure that's not delisted by the NASDAQ too, so they might wait a little while. But believe me, I'm looking every single day, and up updating my phone to see whether ARK Invest has bought BNGO, because believe me, I will be one of the first people talking about it if it happens. And I'll be really upset if I don't get in on it early, get in on the news, because if they do that, you better believe the stock price is going up soon thereafter. So if you guys see ARK Invest bought it and I have not made a video, please reach out to me on every single platform possible and tell me. If you're in the Discord, please reach out to me. If you are on Instagram, comment underneath one of my videos, send me a DM, send me an email. I might be asking for it at this point because there's 240 people. If I get 240 notifications on it, that will be a lot. But what I would kind of end with today, and I'll take a look at a couple more questions probably. But so I talked about Workhorse earlier. You can scroll back if you want to that. What I would say, just over everything, just looking at the market now, we have a lot of companies that are down 5 to 10%. I would spend, if you have some free time today, I would spend some time researching these companies, taking a look whether you think that they are down for a good reason or any reason at all, or if they're just part of the general market sell-off. Look if you want to buy more and try to stay high conviction on some of these plays, because I think a lot of companies are down significantly. I mean, we see this, right? Especially with some of these SPACs where there's just a day where they get hit 5 to 10%. They just get knocked down, and then they rebound the day after or the day after that. Sometimes it can be multiple days, but if they're down 10% today and there's no real reason for it, take a look to see is it worth buying more? Because I think a lot of people wait to see what will happen, and then they try to catch it after it starts to ride up. And that I don't think is the best solution, the best way to do this. I know that I'll be looking at some companies later today. And I've talked about some of the ones I'll be looking at, probably looking at Fubo, looking at Disney more. I mean, Disney, I don't think there's any reason that it's down besides just a general market sell-off. Also taking a look at CLSK, Magnite, those types of companies. If you guys want, you can watch through some of my old videos on the main channel and kind of see what I thought about these companies, see if anything's changed. I know that I will be looking at some videos and doing more research in other ways too on especially CLSK. I'm really interested in that one. And I talked about it over the weekend, why I was so interested in it. That being said, if you guys have more questions, if you want to talk to some other people about these companies, you can check out the link down below to Patreon. Otherwise, it's going to be an interesting day in the market. I'm curious to see how things end up. We're at 103% up on the day on BNGO. Just crazy. Be ready for a pullback. Be ready for it to go up. So if you guys want to scroll back further in the video, you can see what I thought about some different companies. I've covered a lot of different companies in this video. Thank you guys. If you guys haven't already hit subscribe, please do that. We're growing like crazy on this channel, kind of, because I am not posting as much, but I appreciate that. Again, there are links down below if you want to see anything else. If you guys want to check out BlockFi, I'm going to work with them a little bit more in depth here soon, but I have a decent amount of money in that company for some high interest on some of my cryptocurrencies. I mean, take a look at the cryptocurrency market. It's insane right now. My brother-in-law actually talked about buying more Ethereum. Ethereum and Bitcoin almost follow exactly from the graph that he showed me. They move in exactly the same movement, but Ethereum is slightly behind Bitcoin. Bitcoin really sets the tone, and let's not spam too much in the chat, but they really set the tone for the cryptocurrency market, it seems like. And I think it's going to be interesting because he said that he thinks it will jump significantly over the next few days, over the next few weeks. Let's take a look at what they're doing now, actually, before we get off. So he said this a couple days ago to me. I don't own any Ethereum right now, though, but they're up. Yeah, they're up from 775 to 1,000 today. Let's just make sure. So on the 5-day, yeah. Actually, okay, so since the second, they were about 750. They're up about 36% over 2 days or 3 days. So they're up significantly. He thinks that it trails behind a couple days, and he thinks that they still have not gone up parabolically from when Bitcoin went up. Now, Bitcoin went up a decent amount. Now Ethereum's gone up a lot, but it should be interesting. So I've talked about Fuse, by the way, on the main channel before. Do I think BLNK is having better movement than SBE? So I'm not sure what you mean by better movement. I don't do technical analysis, actually, but I like SBE because of the market share that they own. So I might pick up on a couple more stocks today. If you guys want to know what I buy, I do talk about it in my Patreon. Thank you guys. Oh, and what channel is my brother-in-law? He has not made one yet, but I'm trying to get him to make one. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Just made one on Bngo a little while ago. Since I made that, the stock went up like 50% or something like that, 60%. If you guys want to see more on that, I will probably make another video or two this afternoon. We'll see. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button before I go, I appreciate that. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.